The famous Russian philosopher Vladimir Soloviev said, "A man is not only participating in actions of cosmic elements, but is able to know the purpose of it, and therefore work for it with reason and freedom." What is this purpose? Many people say they want to be happy. Who would not agree? But happiness can be found in many things. In Russian language, happiness means to be a part of something. If this is true, communication and cooperation are very important. War, chaos, separation will have a negative influence on humans. The meaning of this movie is to present work of students who want to stimulate the cooperation between East and West, between the two parts of Europe, the European Union and Russia. As we all know, in the past there was a long period of separation between these two parts. The students who are participating in this project have visited the West, have visited and participated in conferences, and they worked in a studio under the supervision of specialists. In the movie you can see the first fruits of their cooperation. They will show you the ideas of other people to stimulate your thinking, because thinking about happiness can bring us together. So we invite you to think about happiness yourself. Try to formulate your own ideas.
I think very simple. You have enough to eat, you have enough to drink. When you open the stove, the gas comes out. What more do you need? You know, water comes. I think it's all in the person. People want, you know, an American will say, I need this big car first. If I don't have the big car, I'm not happy. So everybody thinks different about happiness, I think. And I think you can, if you have the sun in you, like where I'm from, the sun, you're always okay.
Я очень счастлива. Я думаю, что счастье, оно в основном в благодарности.
Enjoy of simple things, realize that we have sometimes more than what we think we have.
Well, no worries and being together.
This is peace.
But
Что все мои родные, любимые люди рядом.
Не жалейте. Всегда в позитиве общаться.
To visit most of the European countries and learn about people and learn about the way they live. That's for me, that's happiness.
I think happiness is that you can be happy with the small things that happen to you.
It's clear that people are talking about happiness in different ways. What is common in what they say is people cannot be happy when there is war, violence, conflict, discord, hunger, illness. People are happy when there is love, joy, beauty, when people care for each other. This is what can unite people when they talk about happiness. And this is what the students are doing in their project. They work in different directions because of the differences in their backgrounds, their disciplines and their jobs. They are looking for people from other countries who will cooperate with them.
For me, it's being together.
Every culture is valuable in its own way. Therefore, communication between cultures could be very rewarding. Clemens Zimmer works for the European Parliament and he is responsible for communication. He says that all national cultures are good in their own way. The European motto is unity in diversity. The countries of Europe are trying to find a solution for their problems, dealing with many opinions. Within the building of the European Parliament, there is a sculpture that expresses the whole idea of Europe. When you touch one part of the statue, all the parts begin to move. That is an expression of the idea of coherence, of being together, of influencing each other. You can say, if one member is suffering, all members will suffer. So they help each other when it's necessary. Happiness and cooperation have to do with harmony, living in harmony. But sometimes you have to sacrifice your own interests, national and personal ones. For example, farmers have to sacrifice profits in order not to disturb nesting places of birds. The European Union started the project Nature 2000. The rules of this project mean a lot to the farmers in the countryside. Politicians and people in towns and the countryside want to take care of their environment. Nature should be protected. The Nature 2000 project is a project to protect biodiversity. Flowers and birds are under a risk to disappear from the countryside. Around a small bird, the grotto, a great European campaign was organized. Instead of fertilizing fields as it is usually done, farmers are proposed to dig out sludge to fertilize soil, so the birds can grow their little ones. Thus, farmers are obliged to give up part of their economic interests and the usual way of working. Only in this way the birds can be protected and have a chance to survive in the limited space that is left in Dutch agriculture.
We are here in the Nature 2000 area. It is protected. We try to combine ecology and economy in this area. It's an experimental field. You see 3 meadows. And what did we do here? We took away the soil in the banks of the parcels and put them on the top of the meadows.
In Russia, the unity of everyone is connected with the idea of Sophia. This is associated with happiness as being together in eternity, rising above the small problems of this world. What the Russians can learn from Dutch people is that there are moments in our life that are full of happiness because of the little things of life. Here we see again that happiness is understood differently by people. But without love, no one is happy. Would it be the love for eternity or the love for little things? After the disaster of Chernobyl, there was a project organized by Dutch people for the children from Chernobyl. They received support from Holland. For more than 25 years, every 2 months, buses brought children to the Netherlands. There they stay with families, receive medical care, and later the Dutch families stay in touch with them. There are even orphans among them who lost their parents in the terrible disaster. Dutch people take care of them. This is a very good example of love across the borders of countries that were separated for many years. Today, a Dutch-Russian organization, the International Ecological Society, started another project to learn children to take care of the environment. This is a logical next step after focusing on the disaster of Chernobyl.
What do you think about Russia today? Was your period when you were minister, your period when you were leader of party, now you have other job. But what do you think? What happened during this special time?
Well, I didn't follow it that close, but I think there's been major improvements also in Russia. But there's still a lot to do. And I still think that issues like corruption are worth fighting against. So a lot still has to be done. But compared with the situation that's now for 18 years ago, last time I was in Russia, I think there's been major improvements. So I'm very glad about that. But democracy can always be better. So there's still a lot of work to do.
In March, Russia had its election of the president. Many Russians nowadays live in Amsterdam, and they got the opportunity to vote in the Russian consulate in Amsterdam. Political freedom is rather new for Russians. About 20 years ago, they made a new start. For the European Union, freedom and democracy are basic principles. Freedom has to be connected with responsibility. How to combine the freedom of people with responsibility? This issue is important for many countries today, both for the ones that have a long history of democracy and for the countries which recently got internal political freedom. When Russian people and some Dutch people took the initiative to start the project to stimulate cooperation between Russia and the Netherlands, they were surprised to see the openness and support from officials in Brussels. For instance, officials from the Committee of the Regions, the European Commission and the European Parliament. These people were very positive about the possibility to bring together people from the East and the West. Together they organized the meetings that are called Forum. This year the third Forum is organized. Living with faith, hope, love and wisdom, this is how the Russian mind perceives life on earth. It is a spiritual side of life. If we learn from each other how to realize this spirit in our work, there will be hope for a happy life for new generations. Russians say that happiness means being a part of a whole. Of what whole we want to be a part. Maybe we should start with Europe as a whole. If we build relations in the common European space with openness and love, Russia and the European Union will have a common future.